Hi guys, here we go. We are in our last packet here, this Unit 10 packet that you guys are in. Page 10 is where we're starting here. Finding the volume of prisms and cylinders. So we're going to talk about volume. Before we were doing those surface area before, that was from before, right? Surface area was the idea of how much area is on the outside. But now we're talking about volume, and what volume is it's how much space is on the inside. And for volume, our units are always cubed. So what does that mean? It means if we have inches, for our answer it'd be inches cubed, or centimeters cubed, or meters cubed, or feet cubed. You get the idea, right? Whatever units you're using, it's always inside and it's always cubed, okay? So just like the other ones, there's a formula you need to learn. You're just going to follow along with these formulas that you're going to use, apply the correct formula, do the problem. It's pretty easy as long as you just plug in that formula. So if it's a prism, your volume formula is area of base times height. If it's a cylinder, its volume equals pi r squared times the height. So let's do examples of each. So this first one is a prism, right? Rectangular prism. So I'm going to use this top formula, area of base times height. If I think about the base of this, it's this space down here at the bottom. That's a rectangle. So to find the area of that rectangle, I just do length times width, which would be these two numbers here, 6.8 times 4.2. But then I still have to do times the height. Here's my height on the side, 3.9. So really I'm just doing length times width times height for these rectangular prisms. I'll type all that in my calculator. 6.8 times 4.2 times 3.9, and I get 111.384. It said round to the nearest hundredth though, right? So 0.38. Now here's what I was talking about with units. It's always units cubed because we're dealing with volume. So anytime it's asking for volume, you're always going to do units cubed. All right, this is a cylinder. So for the cylinder, I use this bottom formula. Volume equals pi r squared times h. All right, so we know pi is 3.14. This number down here is my radius because it's half of the diameter of that circle. So that's 6 squared times the height, which is 15. Again, these are all going to be calculator problems. 3.14 times 6 squared times 15. And I get 1695.6. This one didn't have units, so I don't have to worry about putting any units on there. That's how you do it, okay? For C, it's a little different because in this case, the triangle is my base, and it's laying on its side, and then this is the height. So when I do area of base times height, I have to use this triangle. Now remember, for the area of a triangle, it's base times height divided by 2. So I would do 4 times 7 divided by 2, but then I still have to multiply that by the height. And then I would work this all out on my calculator. 144.2. And then don't forget units cubed. All right, I'm going to leave D for you guys to do on your own. Just be really careful. For this up here, this 8 is the diameter. Remember, the problem wants the radius. So our radius would just be 8 divided by 2, which would be 4. This number here is your height. Okay, so just plug that into the formula, find the volume of those. Those are your formulas for volume of a prism or a cylinder. Okay, what about these other guys, which are volume still, but for what about pyramids, cones, and spheres? So these also have a formula. It's always going to be 1/3 the area of the base times the height, but they're a little different depending on which one is which. So for a pyramid, it's just going to be 1/3 area of base times height. For the cone, it's 1/3 pi r squared times height. So very similar to the last ones, but it's just 1/3 of that, okay? And then we'll get into the sphere tomorrow in tomorrow's lesson. All right, so let's go ahead and practice. So this is obviously a cone. So I'm going to use this bottom formula here. 1/3 pi, we know is 3.14. The radius was down here. And it's radius squared, and then that's my height. And then I just type all that in my calculator. And I get a nice big number, 1674.67. Don't forget units cubed, again because it's still volume. Okay, for letter B, this is an example of a pyramid. So for the pyramid, we're using this formula up here, 1/3 area base times height. So let's try that. Volume equals 1/3 area of base times height. So 1/3 area base. So this is my base down here, and I need to find the area of that. Well, that's a square, so the area is just length times width, which is just 11 times 11. So I'll put that in for the area of the base. And then the height is a straight up and down height in the middle here, which is 12. And I'll just multiply all those together and use my calculator. And I get 484, and don't forget cubed. Okay, so that's all you do. It's really the same as the one from before, but it's times 1/3 in the front. So I want you guys to finish page 12. You've got a cone and another pyramid. And then you've got this one, which this is also a cone here. Okay, so you'll try that one on page 12. And then that'll be it for today, pages 10, 11, and 12.